fine. I really thought I would be at time. I apologize. I've been.
We'd like to welcome everybody to the Preservation Review Board meeting. We'll get started here first off with a roll call, and then we're going to go straight to the approval of minutes. After that, we're going to start with the first item on for certificates of appropriateness. Mr. Boswell, if you'll do a roll call.
Mr. Webb.
Aye.
Mr. Geezer.
Here.
Mr. Neese.
Here.
Mr. Weaver and Mr. Johnson are both absent. We do have a quorum.
All right. Did everybody get a chance to look over the minutes from last time? Here's the thing. Of course, this is your first time. We'd like to welcome you to the board. I guess the rules on this one I'm trying to figure out because he wasn't here last time.
Yeah,
we don't have a quorum. Do you want to table the minutes for the following? Okay. So we'll make that note on here. We'll table the minutes from last time to next meeting. The first item that we've got is the certificate of appropriateness for Rick and Laura Blevins.
Hello.
Hello.
Laura Blevins, 289 Valley Street Northwest. And if you need to understand geography, it is on the corner of Valley Street, Wall Street, and King Street is the back street. So back in 2014, we submitted this plan, and a previous iteration of this group approved it, but we never got around to it. So hopefully we have around to it now, and we're going to start the, oh, thank you.
Got them pulled up for you.
So,
They're hard to see.
yeah, and can you go to number 4, page 4? Okay. So the first piece of this that we're going to work on is the replacement of the walkway, and hope y'all don't mind, I'm going to walk over.
Yeah, go for it.
So right here is the back of my house. So you got Wall Street here, and King Street is up on the upper end. Walkway directly behind the house, that's my back door. There's a retaining wall, so we would be replacing the walkway, the wall, and the steps. And then the future phases that we would do would be the rest of the plan, which some more steps, some more walkway, patio, and a pavilion, covered pavilion is the plan. So, I don't know what all you need to, if you can see or if you need me to lay out anything more for you. The retaining wall that exists is different materials depending on what side of the steps you're looking at. So it's not all been it wasn't all built at the same time, and we don't know when any of that was actually built. The Department of Historic Resources only has a picture of the front of the house that they took in the early 80s when they developed, helped Child develop the historic district. So the retaining wall, as it is right now, is part of it is leaning. The other half of it is block, a 6-inch block. It doesn't drain properly, and it's not properly reinforced. So the design that Jeff Stapleton came up with puts the right size block. So instead of 6-inch, it's going to be 8-inch block with proper drainage and proper reinforcement, so it's going to stand the test of time. Oh, yeah, Jason, thank you. Those are my steps. And that's the top of the steps. And there's the side, the walkway from Wall Street. So right now, the walkway also doesn't properly drain, the slope is off. So and I know that it might be a little difficult for you all to see on a little piece of paper when I've got the big plan right here, but he designed it to have the correct slope. So instead of pulling water at my back door, which is what it does right now. Instead, it's gonna, from my door, most of it is going to flow towards Wall Street, and then a little bit will flow towards the east side, and then out into the side yard on the east side of the house. The material that we're gonna use for the walkway will be, and all the walkways for the entire project will be concrete pavers. The retaining walls will all be that 8-inch block, properly reinforced. And it's on, if you can see on the design on page 6 of the construction details. Concrete block with stone veneer, real stone veneer, and blue stone cap. And the steps will be concrete with, as you're walking up the sides will be that same stone veneer, and the risers will have stone veneer with blue stone as the actual steps.
And is your project exactly the same as what was approved in 2014?
It is. The one teeny tiny difference is on the original, there was a mulberry tree that sat right on Wall Street, and Mother Nature took it down.
Oh. But all the plan materials and everything else is the same?
Everything is the same.
So the only reason you're back is because of how...
It's been 4 years, and yeah.
Well, I move that we grant the certificate of appropriateness.
Okay. If I might state something, just so that we have it out there. And of course, I was on the board in 2014, and I was actually, I think, the only member here that was part of that decision. I believe when we talked about it last time, you were doing a whole lot of stuff in the back of your house. And so there were things such as your steps. And by the way, in the guidelines, there's not a whole lot in here that covers that, unfortunately, for steps. We do have another party here that's trying to do steps as well. The one thing that I remember from that meeting that we had was that we were approving what was going on because it was outside of public view.
And those steps are
outside of public view.
Yeah.
So it was I believe at the time it was a little bit of a difficult decision because there was so much that was going on that you were removing. And of course, this board's main goal is to try to preserve. It's also, you know, in cases, I think in here where it's got retaining walls that are built prior to 1945, that they should be preserved and maintained, and going back and trying to repair with like materials. But I'm just stating for the record so that we have it here on before we proceed with any kind of motion that we had gone through and done that based on it being out of public view, and not necessarily that it completely came under the guidelines as it sat. Any other further questions or discussion on it?
Second.
I'll second. We have a motion and a second. Mr. Boswell.
Mr. Webb?
Aye.
Mr. Geezer?
Aye.
Mr. Neese?
Aye.
Thank you all very much.
Thank you.
All right. The second item that we have is Mr. Hubbard. If you step forward and
My name is Matthew Hubbard, and I'm at 101 Valley Street Northwest. And the issue that brings me here today are the steps at my home. There are 2 steps at the entrance to the porch, and then another set going down to the sidewalk. Both sets have some cracking and damage. They've previously been repaired with patch, and the plan would be to replace with like material.
Let's see, we did different pictures. Okay.
I
brought
took
'em.
these, I never got the ones that you sent. so I
Oh,
just went
okay.
and took 'em. But thank you though. They may wanna see if you wanna bring them up here.
Since you took them, let's take a look.
So are they just poured concrete?
Yes.
Okay.
And you're just gonna take these out and replace them with new?
Yeah,
With
so
concrete.
it's gonna be the same exact thing, go back, same measurements on.
Same handrail, the whole shebang.
Everything will be.
The same
okay.
handrail will actually be the same one, go back.
Mhm.
The biggest issue is the concrete's rotten, and if we go over top of it, try to patch it again, it's just gonna keep crumbling.
Are you just doing the steps or the sidewalk and the steps?
Just the steps, the bottom steps near the road, and I think there's 3 steps up top going onto the porch.
There's 7 on the bottom, 3 on top.
Sides, sides that are housing the steps there won't be touched. I
No,
guess other than-
no,
No,
they'll stay.
they're stable. That picture shows where it's been patched more than once. And it's coming right back in the same spot each time.
The sidewalls, they're stable. They got some cracking in them, but it's nothing structural wrong with them. They can be, if later on he wanted to just stucco them or something, and put the stucco back on them like they are.
Are these the steps, the steps going up to the front, you're proposing to try to take those out as well and redo those with the other ones on the bottom?
Yes.
Move it up to the sidewalk.
Well, I mean, I know we're supposed to try to preserve things, but it doesn't look like there's much way to,
Looks like a safety hazard to them.
Yeah.
That's the
Just-
big issue.
That's the
and no matter what you do,
point.
this is just gonna keep happening.
Yeah,
Yes.
and especially where it's messed up on the front edge. If you patch that and say it gets a little bit of moisture in it, freezes, comes loose, somebody walks down the step, and the
Yes.
step comes off.
Yeah.
It'd be easy to fall.
Yeah, it'd be easy.
As of right,
Slip
the way it is
around.
right now with the loose gravel and concrete, it's, it's easy to slip.
We looked at putting a cap over them, but it'll put us out of our code regulations. The step at the bottom will be too high, and you won't have enough up top to play to get your grade right. So the only way really to do it is bring all the steps out and then re-pour them.
Are you gonna be able to keep the color of the steps to match? It looks like they may match the sidewalk right now. Is that
Yeah.
gonna be an issue?
No, shouldn't be no issue.
Well, in light of the obvious state of the current steps, and I think it would just be impossible to patch those, I would move that we grant the certificate of appropriateness.
I would say.
Okay. First, a motion and a second, no further discussion?
Mr. Webb?
Aye.
Mr. Geisler? Ms. Lees?
So move to approve.
Thank y'all very much. We sure do appreciate y'all.
Thanks for coming in. Thank you.
Do you want me to go ahead and give you that, or bring it back?
Bring it back.
Okay.
That'd be good.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Third item that we've got is for Doug Ellis for 211 West Main Street. There he is.
And I apologize for my appearance. Yes, Doug Ellis, 211 West Main Street, and I have Nathaniel Pellman with me, Director of Moonflower Montessori School. We need to change the 2 of the 3 entrances to the top level of 211 West Main Street. Moonflower is expanding into the other third of that top floor. They'll occupy the entire 2nd floor. Basically, code changes, the educational code changes are making us install doors that exit out of the building, or open out of the building. They currently open into the building. With that, and Nathaniel, you step in because he knows more of the, with Bundy's have presented to you the plan. We've got to build a little alcove so that the educational codes that they fall in now, panic button, panic doors, and doors that open out. To do that, we have to recess them back into the building because they would open out into the walkway and you wouldn't be able to pass through the walkway if you. I didn't present a picture. I heard that you took some.
I got pictures.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
So, but anyway, the only alternative for that is to recess those doors and create an alcove to where they can open out. All determined by fire code for their particular usage, which is education.
This is one of
So-
those instances where the building code kind of conflicts with our guidelines. You know, we want to preserve, but yet we can't keep him as a permitted use for that building. And so it's just one of those rare instances.
Which, I'm trying to get a bearing, it's the top level, correct?
Correct.
This
Okay.
door.
It
So
will
that
be,
door-
excuse me.
This door.
Yes,
Right.
the middle door, there's 3 doors, saw the door over there. They currently occupy this 2/3, which that's one of their entrances now. And that's their 2nd entrance. And everything is fine based on square footage and its current codes. But they have, are moving into the additional 600 square feet. And when we hit that square footage mark, it changed the fire code. So this door and the door over there will be the 2 that have to be recessed in so that they can open out.
Because
And-
it changed.
And so, yeah, I guess
The
what
door
we're.
itself they won't have to move, tear out brick, you just.
No.
Just the door facing.
Right, well, what we're proposing would be that we keep the door opening, all the casing and trim around it and everything. And as shown on the plan there, it's a little 5x5 recessed alcove. We would do cement board on all sides of the alcove. Per code is the reason we use the cement board instead of wood, but we paint it to match the trim that's already there on the door, so it would appear as if, you know, the doorway kind of goes back in, which granted is a little odd and different than it was, but in an attempt to meet the fire and building code, we're trying to do it in a way that still maintains the appearance that it currently has.
Try to make a little bit of notes here.
Sure.
What we had on ours. We just had, we were trying to recess, I don't think that the hardy board was on there, but just.
It's on the plan. I mean, that's that hardy board spec is from the plan.
Okay. Look here.
I assume that's gonna be white to match the.
Exactly. It'll be that same color as what you saw on the picture.
All right, so let me do this. Let's just reiterate. So your door's being recessed. There's on either side of it, you're going to put hardy board to just kind of create some of a facade there. Is there anything else on that? They're just doing that one door up at the top. Is that right? Just
It would be
No, it
2
requires
doors.
2.
Top.
Yeah, one on
You
each
have to
side.
do 2 exits.
And if there are particular ways that you all would want it to be finished, we have some flexibility there. The requirement is that we use steel studs in the hardy board because of the type of construction that it is.
I guess from a procedural standpoint, my law firm has an ongoing matter with, that's been going for a while. There's some other things that have come up before, and I recused myself from those. If I recuse myself now, are we able to act on this?
We will not be able to table it.
I won't, if you don't want me to, I won't.
Don't recuse yourself.
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah, I will put that on the record
Okay,
as
good.
well.
If you have no
There is
objection, I'm
no,
okay.
there is no reason for
Okay.
you to.
All right.
So, as Mr. Brosnan was kind of stating, this kind of conflicts. There was one thing that we did talk to, that I talked to him about a little bit earlier was, in some cases, there's, your house, the property was built in the 70s, I believe.
1970.
Yeah. It kind of falls a little bit under the non-contributing side because a lot of stuff around it is obviously a lot older and, so it kind of gives a little bit of a leeway on it. It kind of goes, what goes a little bit against what some of the guidelines that we have, but I understand that you've got conflicting, so, Byron, you got anything to
Is it
add to
gonna be,
that?
are you gonna you reuse these same doors, or you're gonna have a different?
Don't be able to, can't do the panic hardware and all of that.
Well, my thought would be that, I mean, they've got to comply with the building code with safety issues. We've got to yield to that. It's a newer building. I think, I mean, normally we don't like to replace doors, but the fact that the doors are going to be recessed is going to, either not going to be as visible anyway, and, you're going to keep the door frame around it, so the appearance is still going to be basically the same as it is now, except for the alcoves, which I think are going to look good. I think they'll look fine, so.
I think they will finish out, they won't take, it's, we talked about the hardy board, that backing, because it's going to be exposed to, the moisture, and it's a fire code issue too, versus having sheetrock. But we'll finish it, be painted white.
Will your doors be white, the new door?
Well,
How
this is
close-
They're paintable. I mean, we can do whatever we want
Pretty
with
good.
them.
I mean, I think if you make them white, probably what Byron's gonna say, I mean, it's gonna look pretty much the same as it did before.
Yeah, the
For
closer it
street,
matches what you have, the better.
and I've always appreciated this. We will assure that it will. We're just being forced to meet code, to take them in. They're because of the square footage, and they're not really increasing your occupancy load. They're never going to have more than 49 kids. They can't handle it. But, and that's why we were okay, because it stayed under 49, and so we didn't have to put the doors. But the square footage as addition, even though the occupancy will never exceed 49, pushed us to, based on fire code, that we were made it they have to open out.
Do you know what the door, do you know what the door's gonna be yet? I mean, what's it gonna
It's
be?
a fur.
A 3.0 metal door. I mean, just a standard 3-foot
It's
metal
not
door.
having glass in it, just solid?
It would have a 30 by 24.
Oh, just like these do now, or close to?
No, it would be in the center of the door, just like a 30 by 24 inch opening in the center of the door.
Oh, these, I guess, are, I mean, I don't know what these are, but.
Those are wooden doors. I mean,
But there's glass in them, isn't
there is.
Yes.
Yeah, this would just have one single light in the center of the door.
How's
Did
the
you get it
size
with
of that
two
opening
paint?
gonna compare to these openings?
Roughly the same, except
Okay.
it'll be one light,
Just in a
and it'll
shade.
be, I should look at them to see. My guess is it would be a little bit smaller, a little bit, it's probably close though.
Yeah.
It's probably pretty close to what it'll be.
Well, I would move that we grant the certificate of appropriateness under those circumstances. I would second.
All right, we have a motion and a second, do the roll call.
Mr. Webb?
Aye.
Mr. Geezer?
Aye.
Mr. Neese?
Aye.
Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you,
Yeah.
Byron.
Oh, you're welcome.
Thank you.
And I do apologize for
No
my appearance.
problem.
Completely. Why I built this
Appreciate it.
building.
See you guys.
All right. Next on the agenda, we have a discussion topic, Mr. Hawkins.
Yep.
Come forward.
I've got a couple things for you guys. Sure there's a lot in discussion. We're just tossing around ideas for this lot. This is the northeast corner of Troopers Alley and Brewers Alley, right behind where Kegley and Son is. At the moment, there's, you can kind of see in the picture, the lot slopes upwards, and at the back of the lot is owned by Dave and Jill Dalton.
Yeah, it's the White Birch building.
They're using that area for parking currently. So what this project would entail would be, before we can do anything, we're gonna have to put in a retaining wall on the site. After that would be completed, we want to potentially construct a new home that looks historic. This concept was from Frank Brown. It'd be similar to, one concept would be to do it like this, or two side by side that look like this, with the idea being like maybe have it look somewhat similar to the Greenway Trade Building, or using like clinker brick or something of the sort that just kind of gives it a little bit of an older look. The idea would probably be at this point not to build anything or do anything until we had somebody interested in buying one of those. But we just wanted to come to you guys first to see if this was even something y'all would be interested in. Obviously, it's not normal to have a vacant lot in the old historic district, so it's a little different from what everyone else has talked about. As far as what we would need to have the house look like in order for it to maintain the status quo.
Sure. I guess this is just obviously all preliminary stuff.
Right.
That you've got, you just kind of throwing some
Yeah,
ideas out there and.
We didn't really want to, we talked a little bit to the Bundys of like trying to put a site plan together for the retaining wall and all that, but like we didn't really want to spend a bunch of money on architectural engineering and then come here and have you guys make changes and or say that's a good idea, but we don't want to see that. So we figured we'd just come talk, and like this, again, this sketch is just kind of an idea, kind of flexible with it, but we think it does have a good historic look to it.
Is this the lot here with the
Correct.
behind the trees?
All the way
It
over.
would include the parking and the lot.
Oh, okay.
So where the car's at, and then all the way to basically where the for sale sign is.
Oh, so it's not up here where the trees are?
It is.
Oh, it is, it's both?
All of that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
they have to take out a whole lot of dirt there.
Yeah.
And the trees.
So would you be building, you said retaining wall, would you be building up where the cars are, or would you be taking down that?
Right, the White Birch parking lot
Yeah.
back there, being straight down from that.
Oh.
Our property line is at the front of the cars that are in the back.
I should have printed out the plat map. Essentially, it's two lots next to each other. The first lot is where the parking is, and the second lot is where the hill is and the trees are.
Okay. What was the total
feet.
acreage on that?
It's 40 feet deep and 80 feet long. No, 80, not. It's about 4,000 square feet, I think.
Would you?
It's 50 feet deep and 80 feet long.
Would you orient the front of the building toward the alley, is that what you're thinking?
Back towards Brewers Alley, so where this garage door, front door would be facing this
Gotcha.
side.
Yeah,
So you'd be looking from the alley out.
Right.
Yes.
Okay.
Right. That, yeah, this is kind of supposed to be the same perspective, looking back towards. But maybe that one of these trees wouldn't survive as it would
Oh,
be
gotcha.
in the sketch.
I suggest maybe get Mr. Boswell to print off section 30 in here with new residential building construction, primary buildings. I don't know if you guys have actually taken a look at that yet.
Within the historic district?
Yeah, the guidelines that we've got. That will help you get pretty far, I feel like, if you took a look at all that, because it's actually pretty extensive. It looks like it's about she's got 10 sections, if not maybe close to 11. I mean, actually it's 9, but I mean, there's nothing 9 to make it 10 sections.
And it's,
So
what is the title
This
on it?
is new residential building construction for primary buildings. Now,
And that's
thi-
within the historic
Yes.
zoning
So,
ordinance section?
so we've got, and what Mr. Giesler was asking was the orientation to the street. You've got stuff like scale, shape of, roof shape, pitch. There's a whole lot in here that'll help
Okay.
get you where you probably need to go. And what I would suggest is you actually maybe find something that you feel is pretty close to what the surrounding buildings are, because, you know, as the guidelines go, and even for secondary buildings, they try to make sure that everything is somewhat seamless to where you look at this building and it just doesn't look way out of place.
Right.
You know, like this one, I think with, it looks like it's got the Tudor style siding, kind of adobe with a couple of.
I think he means it to be brick.
That's brick.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's intended to.
It's a big brick.
Brick, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, and the, you know, again, I think he's looking at the Greenway Trig building
Mhm.
from that, trying to kind of mimic some of those designs. You know, the issue is that building next to us, if you're standing where I took the picture, where Kegley is, it doesn't really fit in my opinion, it doesn't really fit the historic look of the rest of Main Street. It's got like these big boxes on the windows and kind of has like this wild facade on it. So it doesn't, it's like, I don't really know what we could put next to that would have a good continuance.
Well, and yeah, if you go one street over, there's a lot of stuff that's pretty similar. You're
Yeah,
right. I mean,
yeah.
you kind of pick your era, is
Mhm.
kind of where I'm going with
Okay,
it.
okay.
You want to do
Yeah.
Victorian, you want to do craftsman, that kind
Right,
of stuff.
right.
I think the main thing that you're gonna be dealing with regard to this type of new building is, this provision that is, let's see here, I guess 9B, replications, which is part of 30, which says, new construction that closely imitates historic buildings such as those found in the old historic district are acceptable if they are consistent with the true historic buildings in their overall form and plan, porch design, placement, windows, door treatments, roof forms, and architectural details. However, it's important for replications to be identified as such through the use of signs or plaques displayed on the front of the building or otherwise prominent in the public view. I know, I think for a while there used to be like historic districts where they didn't want replications. I think that's kind of out now, but they discouraged that and they wanted buildings to be obviously new. And I think, I don't know why that is. It seems like you would want to build new buildings, but I think now that it's evolved to where it's perfectly fine to do straight replications like this, but as long as you have a sign identifying that that's what it is, and that you stick to that style, and that it's not some combination of styles.
Right,
Like some
right.
Tudor building with a plating window or something
Right.
like that. So, it looks like you've closely done that. I guess, I'm trying to think if there's a lot of, I know there's a few houses around, and I see that you're trying to sort of follow that kind of Gothic style, I guess, of the what is it?
Greenway Trig.
Greenway Trig, yeah.
And again, I think that we were just trying to pick a concept that we could try to get, again, maybe you're going with the replica idea.
Yeah.
But if we don't necessarily have to have that, we still want to make something that looks like it fits.
Well,
But-
you can do either, and,
There's a construction cost difference, obviously, as well.
Yeah.
You don't want to build a cheap thing to sell.
it's really tough. It's really
Yeah.
hard because, like,
Yeah, this looks expensive.
To me.
and it's hard to, new construction's so different than the construction for buildings like this.
Mhm.
And there's nothing wrong with new construction, and it's okay to have new construction in the historic district. And you can see from how general these guidelines are that it's all vague stuff like be
Right.
consistent with, and use
Right.
the same kind of materials,
Right.
like, and there's no real,
we really struggled with this issue when that restaurant Rain was constructed on the lot down there. And the original plan there was it really stuck out. It was all one level, and it had a bunch of, I don't know, they ended up trying to kind of make it go along with the building on the other side of the.
On the corner.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, just kind of pick up some of those details.
Right.
And, you know, I think ultimately it turned out okay because we didn't get a lot of flack, which we normally would.
Right,
When people
right,
don't like it. But
right.
that's the kind of thing you're dealing with, is that trying to make it a building that is something that's affordable, but still, you know, for lack of a better phrase, looks like it belongs in the historic district. And like you, I mean, where you're talking about building, you've got a lot of different things going on there.
Mhm.
I mean, across the street, you've got that kind of federal building, you've got a Victorian white frame building, you've got that kind of Gothic style of Greenway Trig, and you've got those newer, I don't even know what you would call it, the big building that has lofts above. I don't even know what that style would be, but
On the older,
with the big white, the big, it's almost like the big white trim over top of the windows.
yeah, I don't know exactly the style on that one.
You know,
It is commercial.
Yeah, it's a neat building.
Yeah.
So there's a lot going on, so kind of wide open. I guess if you're going to do a replication, then you know, it really needs to look like a replication, but you don't have to do that.
Okay.
Well, what would you guys suggest?
I mean, I really like the tallness of it. You've got a lot that fits that well, and you've got a lot of buildings around.
I actually really like the design. That's something I would personally purchase.
I think you hit on something earlier that you probably had, obviously you probably hadn't thought about is, you know, if you do brick, then you're looking at trying to match limestone colors, you know, for some of that area. I think it would be, to be honest with you, and I used to build houses, I think it would be easier personally if I was trying to do what you were doing, to go in and probably do something with a hardy plank exterior.
Similar to Rick Humphrey's house they did
I
down
was
in
getting ready
Florida.
to suggest that you go by and look at Rick's place down
Yeah.
there. He did a
More of
beautiful
a
job.
colonial kind of look.
Right.
That would be easier. I mean, like the white birches, if you're going to do brick, I mean, it's a pretty simple, nice, you know, there was a lot of buildings like that around there. But, I mean, that's, you know, obviously you could do, there's a lot going on, but try to do something like this and make it look authentic is going to be really expensive.
Yeah.
I read that building, it's Georgia.
Which one?
Georgia.
Oh, okay.
That's really cool though.
Yeah.
Like I said, I really like the design. It's neat.
Yeah, it's kind of the next step for us would be how, and I think, I guess we would have to go for a COA, I guess, for this, and maybe it wouldn't be possible at all. But we would like to be able to market it as like a build-to-suit type of opportunity where we have some design like this to present to people.
You're thinking residential use, obviously.
Right.
Well,
This shows a-
this shows a studio,
Oh,
like
I
an
see.
art studio, artist kind of studio.
I think realistically, we'd have issue with this design due to cost. Because you kind of, I mean, it's going to be expensive to build that, and that's not really a lot of, you know, I don't know a lot of people that would be willing to, there's not a lot of rent going to be coming in for a space like that in Abingdon, but I guess what my question is, what ability do we have to market the site reasonably? You know, not suggesting that we put a 10-foot sign on it that has a picture of this. You could call us, but obviously the site next to us has a for sale sign on it. We don't want to put a for sale sign on it. We want to like market it as a build a suit or something. I don't know if we can do that or not, if we just need to do all that online.
Well, I think you can market it however you want. I don't think that's a problem. The only thing is, you might want to just, I don't think this is a legal requirement, I'm just for your protection, I think you might want to just say,
all new construction in historic districts subject to, obtaining a certificate of purpose from us,
Right,
and whatever else
right.
you have to have from the town, just so that, just so that it's in your, whatever you're advertising, that you disclose that.
Right.
I mean, I don't think there's a requirement on our part or the town's part that you do that, but, if
Yeah.
you want to do that.
Definitely, definitely. Okay.
I think you read a little bit of this, even though, like Mark says, it's a little bit vague, I think you can kind of glean where you would be able to follow and get everything okay.
And that's on the town website,
Yeah, I think I've gone through it.
or we can print you one off while you're here.
It all comes back to the point that we just, I mean, there's gonna be significant engineering work that has to go in.
Right.
And just to have them drop those plans, we didn't wanna just be out of pocket and come in here and say, hey, look, we got these plans of this detention wall and retaining wall, and we're gonna build a house on it. And you guys be like, oh no, we really like those trees. Don't do anything. So we just wanted to make sure that we were on at least, I guess, again, you guys aren't giving us approval, but saying as long as we follow those guidelines, we should be able to.
I think the main thing that would be helpful to us and to you is to find a building or two in town that you're kind of being inspired by, and that, to where we can see that this is something that fits in with the town, it's consistent with something that's been done here, and there's the whole gamut.
Right.
Is probably here, so, you can probably find some things, and then, trying to build to make it consistent with those, because that's what's done. The new construction I can think of is the Boucher Hutton Law Firm on Valley Street. They basically use Montcalm as the inspiration for that, and the Rain used the building next door as kind of an inspiration for that. That's kind of the thing that's been done in the past, to say, well, we like this building, and so we kind of made ours this style and took some of these features and made it consistent with that. And I think you'll be fine with that.
Okay. Good.
Yeah, questions answered. Think so.
Okay.
All right.
All right.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you guys very much.
Thank you all, appreciate it.
Have a good night.
Thank you.
All right. Any business matters that weren't on the agenda? Any announcements?
I'd like to welcome Derek.
Yeah,
Another work.
Trial by fire.
Did you think I wasn't gonna show up?
Well, they changed the meeting from
Yeah.
5:15 to 5:30.
Well, I know,
And I was sitting there
typically at
thinking,
5:15.
you were sitting there the only person, I was like, well, folks, we'll be with you momentarily.
No, I was on.
Oh, they were thinking it was 5:15? I don't know.
I think Andrew thought it was 5:15 because he wasn't here.
Oh,
last
okay,
time.
so you
know
were,
that
oh, I
he
got
got
you,
to
you didn't know it
change
was 5:30, I got you.
I started to get a little worried too.
Well, I wasn't much quicker, so.
Well, welcome to the board.
Well, thank you guys.
We're really glad to have you.
Yeah, I'm glad to be a part, yeah, it's fun.
Might be
It'll
something
be
you note
interesting.
down, I think this is an all-male board now, so there's no female influence, unfortunately. Any other announcements? No, I think we'll just move to adjourn. We'll make that motion.
I'll move to adjourn.
Roll call.
Mr. Webb? Aye. Mr. Beasley?
Aye.
Mr. Williams?
Aye.